Hey guys, thanks for stopping by to check out my video. I am Big Mattis, and today I want to show you my storage system where you can sort any stackable items into it automatically without a filter system. Let's get out of this F5 mode and we'll go take a look at it. Alright, over here what you do is you throw any stackable items you want in here in any order you want. You take them, you throw them in, turn the system on, and it'll sort itself into these chests automatically. I have chosen for a size right here that it's 10 wide, 8 tall, it's 80 chests. It's really comfortable to reach, all the way up to the top, all the way down to the bottom. But as you can see from over here, you can make the same system. This one's 4 high. It doesn't have to be 10 wide. It can be less than 10. It cannot be more than 10. As you can see, there's a piston wall being pushed back and forth, and it'll only allow this wide of an array of chests. But you can go up as high as you want, and you can go less wide if you feel like 80 chests is too much. We can leave that system on. We'll go back here and take a look. We're getting a little bit of lag, but it's not too bad. Over here, our items are in this chest. They filter down through these hoppers, go into the first dropper stack, the only one with a reset on the comparator. And over here we have a delay on the hoppers to keep items flowing smoothly into here, so there's no backup up this stack or into the system. We have a silent torch stack number 1. Comes over, we have an overflow chest just to keep this system from backing up. Here it goes into these hoppers and starts to drop down into the filtering system. What we have here is we have a clock down at the bottom that controls 2 actions. On one action, the repeaters blink. On the other action, it shoves this line of redstone blocks back and forth one time. As it's doing this, it's allowing the items to filter down through these hoppers. On the first action, this row of repeaters, I'll set on 4 ticks, blinks once, allowing one item, if I could get over there, I'll show you, allowing one item down. See, one, nope, those are filtering in. See, that just went one down. Then, with the shifting of this wall, when it pushes this way, it allows one item to drop. And as it pushes back, it'll allow that item to go into the chest if there's room for it. If there is no room in that chest for it, when the second action that happens, this row of repeaters, as you can see, it'll blink twice. 1, 2, here we go. That allows the same action as the shifting wall, allowing an item down and to go in. Otherwise it sits because the next row is sitting still while the row above it is taking an action. It won't allow that item to pass through until it's turn to go down. And then it continues, repeaters, redstone blocks, repeaters, redstone blocks, all the way down. If it gets all the way down to this point and doesn't go into any of the chests, we have a speed control system here. It's the only one on any of these stacks where it's just one dropper shooting into this row, where it comes across and enters another dropper vader with another silent torch stack without a reset control. That's why it's really important that only one comes in at a time, because of the way these are lined up, there's no room to get the redstone power into the side of the comparator. The way I wanted this set up to make it a little less laggy, a little more smooth, was that each one of these rows controls itself. That way, if any item comes into any one row, it'll only fire that stack of droppers and won't fire any of the others, and it helps control the lag. But as that item shoots up, it'll go into this set of hoppers, where it'll come in and go down into the next row. And it's just a loop at that point. It drops down, goes over, comes back up this side, comes across, down into these chests, so forth and so on. And if it finds no place to hide in any of these chests, comes over to the drop off or the overflow chest of anything that didn't get sorted. At this point, you don't have to have a chest here. You can take the system off into a second setup like I've done on my server, or you can throw it in the lava. Whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. We have, on my world, we have one array of chests, and it comes over to another array of chests, at which point it leaves, goes around everything, and comes over to bulk storage, where we keep our cobblestone, stone, everything that you have way too much of for this sorting system. The next thing we have is this array here of comparators and repeaters that at any time when an item flows through the system and goes into one of these hoppers, it pushes this piston down, well, all these slime blocks in this piston that blocks this line. What that line is our on-off switch. We turn this off. It lights up that line, stops this hopper from going into the system, and activates these repeaters. Well, let's go ahead and take... Bam. Now we can see it going. There's a long delay on this so that you want the system to keep running after it's turned off, just long enough to empty some of those down through the hoppers that are still in there. But it just comes over and stops this being our clock. What we have here is 8 hoppers in a circle with one item passing through. When that item passes through to this side, the comparator will read it and it'll fire off this circuit, which powers these pistons on the side pushing the wall back and forth. So it just goes pajoop, pajoop. Then the item immediately leaves, comes over, and on the opposite corner it hits this circuit, which causes these repeaters to blink on this set of redstone rising up. Let's activate this circuit again. We can see all this in action. This side naturally stays on. You want the repeaters lit up, and there's a torch hidden up under here. There it is, and it causes that to blink. See, blinks twice. Comes over to this side, activates that, shoots the pistons back and forth. Oh, don't turn that on. See, there it goes. Alright, let's go take a look at what it's going to take to build this over in our little construction area here. In this chest we have everything you need to build the system. This block is just a block for aesthetic building. It can be anything you want, and it's any number you need to build the way you want. I just threw it in here to give me something to show as a reference point for the outside of that. And then over here we have, this is what it takes to do that off switch with the override, and you're going to need as many comparators for however wide it is, how many rows you have, and you're going to need the amount of repeaters for how long you want that delay to last after the system turns off. Alright, let's get ready to build. Alright, we're over here in our construction area, and we're going to start to build this thing. First thing you need to do is you want to get yourself some regular chests and some trap chests, and we're going to lay out the array of chests going across. Depending on what mode you're building this in is the method you're going to start with. You're either going to start on solid ground, where you're going to end up 7 blocks down, or you're going to build 7 blocks up in creative to start building this thing. You want to start with a trap chest, and you want to stack them like that, and a normal chest, trap chest. You want to stack them up. To build that system over there, we're going to go 10 across this way and 8 high. Let me go ahead and get that done, and we'll move on to the next step. Alright, there's our 80 chests. You see they're 10 wide, 8 tall. You have trap chest, normal chest, trap chest, just like we discussed. Our next step is behind every one of these chests we want to place a hopper facing into them. So you just shift click on the chest, place your hopper throughout the whole stack. Alright, we have our 80 hoppers in. Let's go ahead and grab any block, it doesn't matter. What you want to do now that you have one hopper, you can see they're all facing into the chest. You have one hopper facing into each chest. we want to put a line of blocks going across. And we want to put hoppers going into it. This is where our first row of controls are going to be. And then we want to put a line of blocks across the bottom. Do the same thing. This is where our last line of control is going to be. Alright, now that's done, grab yourself redstone block and whatever block you're going to use for your redstone building material on, because when you build this stuff in survival, you don't want to accidentally come across, you know, plain stone like this, and you're digging across and you dig it out, next thing you know you ruined your contraption. So we try to use a block that doesn't appear normally in the overworld, or if you're in the nether, you use a block that doesn't appear there naturally. So we want to start with, you want to do a row of redstone blocks, a row of nether brick, a row of redstone, nether brick, redstone, and you want to do this all the way up and all the way across. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll go on to the next step. Alright, as you can see, we have our alternating pattern in here. We have our nether brick, our redstone blocks, nether brick all the way down. You want redstone blocks going across the bottom set, nether brick blocks going across the top. Our next step is not that block, this one. Right below our nether brick, on every one, you want to put top half slabs 2 wide all the way across. While you're doing that, as you're going through, you're going to want to do this if you're in survival, because you won't be able to get to it very easily. You want to put repeaters on the first row, and this top row, it's important that you put them on 4 ticks. Fill in your redstone dust behind them, and that's our next step. Let's go ahead and get that done. Alright, now that we've got all the repeaters and the redstone dust in on these half slab ledges, remembering that this top row is 4 ticks, very important, and every other row is just on default, don't change it at all. This is what allows these rows to blink twice and this row to blink once. You don't want any differences in that. If this row blinks twice, then 2 items go through every time, screws everything up, half your items end up in your overflow chest. Next thing we want to do is grab some regular pistons. We want to place a block on the end of this redstone so that we don't bud power our pistons. And then on this side, we want to build a little tower going up so that we can place this with a 1 gap in here. That allows, this side is the side that pushes back once it comes over. So you want to keep that gap in there. And then we want on this bottom level, we want a half slab full block. On the rest of them, we want 2 half slabs coming out of each. We can get rid of this as we go up. We don't need that there. Place all our half slabs. As you're doing this, you want to put these on this right side. Over there, we're going to have the same setup reverse, but on this side, we want 4 ticks all the way down. And then you want redstone dust on these. And then we want to come out, build another tower coming down so that we can do our half slab steps up. This is what allows the signal to travel up. Put our redstone on there. It's going sideways, showing you it's connected. We didn't come down far enough here. Let's come down 1 more. Throw this in there. Redstone dust. Get rid of this. Now we're going to go over here and do something very similar on this side. We're going to place our blocks. Then we want to place this coming down. On this side, we want our pistons facing in, directly attached. And there we go. That way when this pushes, it's directly connected to it. There's this gap, comes over. This pushes it back, it leaves it just like it is now. We can get rid of this. Same thing on this side. You want block on this, 2 half slabs going all the way up. Put your repeaters in. The repeaters on this stack are on 1 tick. Well, yeah, 1 tick. They're on default position. Redstone dust. Yeah, look at that. You guys are screaming at me. You missed one, you missed one. Let's try this again. It's key for this to all fit together that you build all of this in sequence, because if I had tried to come across from there, we'd have ran right into that. So let's go ahead and put the rest of these in. Might as well do it on camera. Half slabs. Man, half slabs. More half slabs. Wow. Can't place them at all today. Put all our default tick repeaters in. Put the redstone dust. Now we need to connect the signal going up. So let's drop this down, give us something to attach our half slabs to. Half slab. Of course, you know you want to make sure all these are top half, or else you can't put your redstone dust on there. You'd figure that out soon enough. There we go. Now it's all connected. Next thing we want to do is we want to run this line like that directly across to the other side. And there's 2 reasons for these half slabs. One reason is that it's cheap. A lot cheaper to use half slabs than full blocks, but you'll see as we're building this that this circuiting is really tight, and you want to make sure that none of this crosses over from one side of the controls to the other. It'll throw this whole system out of whack. By using half slabs, it helps keep the signal from crossing over to the other side. So we put a repeater facing into those blocks on each side, redstone dust coming across. And let's go ahead and move on to the next step. Alright, now it's time to put in the clock circuit that controls the piston shifting wall and the repeaters. You want to start out at 1, 2, 3. Start from the edge, go 4 in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Place a block. Now you want 8 in a row. So this is going to be a hopper. You want to make sure you're 1, 2, 3, 4 in. Yep, there you go. 8 in a ring, just feeding into each other. Make sure they're all feeding into a loop. Coming out this side, take 3 extra half slabs, put in a comparator, put in a repeater, redstone dust. Let's make sure that that's on 4 ticks and this one over here is on 2. We drop in our redstone control and we are good to go. Stand back, make sure all the walls are shifting. Perfect. Alright, come out on this side with 2 half slabs, put on a comparator, put on a repeater. You want a block coming out of that repeater with a torch on it. On top of that, put a block and bring your half slabs over to your middle. Repeater going into that, and then just fill this in with redstone dust. That's what causes the signal to come over, and as you can see it blinks once. I'll show you in a second how to get that second blink in there. Right now we need to get the circuit up to the top, so once again we gotta half slab step up. One more, there we go. Get rid of this. Put your redstone dust on there and the signal should go all the way. Whoop, put that in the wrong spot, didn't I? Try this again. Redstone dust. Signal goes all the way up. Alright, now down here, coming off of this torch. Wow. Get rid of that. You're gonna have a repeater. 2. You're gonna have a piston coming out of that. On the side of that, you want another half slab with redstone dust, and another repeater going in. Set this one on 3, set this one on 2, and you should get your blinking circuit. There it goes. 2 blinks on the lower ones. One blink on the top one. Make sure they're in sync. You want the wall to finish, then the repeaters to start blinking. Alright, now we're going to put in all of our droppers that take the items back up to the top and drop them back down again. We have to put in the droppers first because that determines which direction our hoppers have to face. So you want to go down 3 from here. 1, 2, 3. And then you want to go 8 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you start placing droppers facing up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now you want to go up with each row. Can't place a hopper today, or dropper, or anything else. Now, when we come across with the hoppers that come back in, you know you can't put it there because that's going to stop the flow. So you're going to have your hoppers at this level. So you want to make sure that your last dropper in your stack is facing in at this level. At which point, you can verify that you're going to come across just like this. So when the items come down this first stack and across, they're going to go into this dropper stack and shoot back in and come into the second row. Now we're going to go ahead and put in all the rest of our hoppers, the rest of our droppers in the exact same way. Now you can see we have full dropper stacks coming in. You see their cute little faces right there. Make sure you don't see any other faces on the front or the back, and they should all be facing up. We can go ahead and put the rest of our hoppers in just like this, going across from there to this end. Don't put anything coming off this first one yet. That's going to be where our feed dropper stack comes in and feeds in. We'll do that one later. So let's go ahead and place a row of blocks across here and go ahead and put in all of our hoppers. Alright, now that we have all of our hoppers in, you want to make sure that they're all facing in this direction, even these two. It helps slow them down a little from dropping straight in. Now we can take out all of these extra blocks here that we used to place. You know, you can go through, double check if any of these aren't facing in this direction, the items won't flow. They'll just sit there, they'll clog up your whole system, and it's no good. Now that we have all of those in, all of them in, now we got to put in the controls for these droppers, and it'll start firing up. Alright, let's put in the controls for the dropper vaders. Take out these temporary blocks that are going to get in our way. We want to start with, on the second row, a half slab, and on the first row, a full block. And this is going to be an alternating pattern all the way down. Full, half, all the way across. Coming out of the back of these comparators, you want to drop a couple of blocks, torches. Coming out from, let's put that on first, coming out from here, you want 2 half slabs. Going into that block with the comparator on it, you put a repeater with a piece of redstone on there, taking the circuit in, and you put on a redstone torch. On this one, you're going to have a full block here, a half slab, and behind that, another full block. You put your redstone dust on there, put a repeater on 2 ticks here, coming across. This does not need to be a full block if you want to save on cost. Put your redstone dust across that and put your torch on there. Now you put this one on 2 ticks. It's a little different than what you see in the tutorial out there for this silent stack, because this helps keep them from bunching up. When they're firing at the same time, the torches can power more than one dropper, and it'll screw up your circuit. It'll keep this one on and won't allow things to fire through. Put that on a little delay, keeps that from happening. Then you want to repeat this exact pattern all the way across, and then we'll start taking our torches up. Alright, it should look just like this with a little alternating pattern. Make sure all the back repeaters are on 2 ticks. Make sure all of your torches are unlit. Make sure you put all of your comparators in, and then we can start building up. You want to go put a block on that torch, put a torch on the back of that, another block, torch, torch, just like that. That's going to be our repeating pattern all the way up. Block, torch, block, 2 torches. Block, torch, block, 2 torches. All the way up, all the way across, same thing going everywhere. Alright, now that that's done, it should look just like this. Should be pretty easy to tell if you screwed everything up, because it would look different. It should look the same all the way down. Torches everywhere, back sides are all lit, front sides are lit, the ones in the middle are all off. When you're done with that, we just want to put a row of blocks here, just as a backup measure to powering this top dropper to make sure everything fires out. And that should do it for that. Now we need to get ourselves another hopper here, and now we feed in. You want to take the first one out one and come straight across. Now this is the one where we have our speed control. So you put a dropper facing into that, hopper facing down into that, and then that's it. That completes that. Now we gotta put in a firing circuit that's gonna match just like this. Nothing different. If I had all the pieces I need. Put your full block in with your comparator on it. Torch on the front of that. God, stop jumping. Coming out from there, 2 half slabs. Repeater going into it. Redstone dust. Block, torch. Done. So now every time an item drops out here, it'll hit into this dropper, shoot across, go into that, up, over, and then back down again. Now this is where things get a little tricky, because we're going to run out of room. Let's leave those. Let's get rid of these. Put in some more temporary blocks like this. So I guess we didn't need this row, we need the next row. Careful when you're clicking if you're in creative. You don't want to destroy this on the way by. You won't even notice you did it. Get rid of these. Bring this row across. Put another row of hoppers pointing into that. Now we've already got this first one fed, so we need to come over here with the second one. And then follow right across. Keep this pattern up. Make sure you go around any of the previous ones. Make sure they feed all the way in. Now we don't want to just fill this row across, because you'll see once we get over here we run out of room. We have to pump this out one and around just to make sure they don't cross into each other. Keep placing these hoppers. Oops. Now as you can see, we're going to be able to get one. Whoops. Should be able to get 1, 2, 3 more rows before it becomes an issue. Man. You can tell I'm not much of a creative builder. This is still relatively new to me. I'm used to doing all my stuff in survival. Alright. We got room for one more, I think. this is where we have to come out and around like this. You just place one extra hopper out in front of the row, bump this out, take it into that block, and into that, and there you go. This comes down, goes in, bumps around. And this row right here, once it fires back up, comes back down, this is where you're going to take it to your overflow chest, your next set, your bulk storage, whatever you want to do. This is where all of your overflow items are going to end up where they couldn't find a home in there. Let's get rid of all of these temporary blocks. We don't need them anymore. That should complete everything except for the feed circuit, and we'll go ahead and do that. Alright, now on my build that we looked at over there, for a comfortable position to be able to reach all 80 chests, I put 2 stairs coming up, and then I built my level platform to where you would stand. You come into your room, you can stand here, you can reach the bottom chest, you can reach the top chest. That would put, this would be the position where you would want to put your on-off switch. So you put your redstone lamp there, put your lever on it. Coming out of that, now if you want to keep this, you'll be able to see some of this, so yeah, might want to be a little bit careful which blocks you choose. But you're going to want to come out of that with 2 redstone dusts and then a repeater. You're going to skip a block for now. This is going to be where our sticky blocks slide down to cut off this off signal. If you want to put the override circuit in there, which I fully recommend. That's a regular chest we want. 2 trap chests. Coming out of that trap chest we want a hopper facing out. Oh man, I don't have anything on me I need for this one. Alright. Coming out of there, 2 hoppers coming out of that chest that feed into this dropper stack. Take it up just like we did the other ones, straight up in the air. Sorry if my keyboard's making a lot of noise. Come out of there, then we want a normal chest. 2 of those. Put a block there so that you can aim a hopper into that chest. Get rid of these. Now when this fires, it'll drop out of this chest into those hoppers, fire up here into an overflow chest, and start feeding your system. And we already know how the rest of that goes. It's all built, ready to go. Now what we need is a control circuit for this. So you want to put your comparator, put your repeater. Get rid of all my blocks. Put a block out of that. Coming over here, you want to have a half slab and a full block. Another half slab, half slab, half slab. You want a repeater there, repeater into this. 2 pieces of redstone. This will, when this comparator senses material in there, it'll fire this off, and this is that speed control circuit that only allows items to flow one at a time once it starts ticking, because that not only it resets this, but it powers that hopper to stop it every, once a pulse, it'll stop it from flowing. So one item, nice steady flow. Now what we need is to get the circuit down to fire this up, and we're going to put in one of these just like that. Alright, in order to do that circuit, we're going to put a block here. We're going to put in 3 half slabs, redstone dust, and a repeater. Now on the back of this block we want a torch. 2 blocks down, take that out, Put a torch on there. Come over with a couple of half slabs. That's got to be up one. Put your redstone dust on there. Into there. That's off. And now you're going to build this one up just like we did the other ones. Torch on the back. Block. Torch on the front. Block. Torch on both sides. Now this, I can't remember, do we need a torch on the front of that or not? Let's take a little peek over here. Alright, see, no torch on the front of that. This should be identical to that from there on. Put your block, torch, block, 2 torches. Block, torch, block, 2 torches. Block, torch, block, torch with a block on top, and that is done. Now your feed circuit is done. You can start putting items in here. It'll start feeding up, coming over into there. Now you want to take any kind of block that does not stick to a sticky block, a slime block. No blocks, glass, which is kind of hard with glass because we're going to have slimes back there. Take yourself a sticky piston. Put it on. It should be right there. Get a slime blocks. Put them on facing down. Oops. And then you want a regular block. So when this fires, it'll come down, it'll cut off a line. We need a full-size block in there. You bring your line down like this. So when you hit that switch and the redstone's powered up, it's coming over here. It'll drop down this way, and this is where we come over and we start taking our repeaters over to shut off that clock. At that point, when we were going to build this override circuit up here, it's going to fire that piston down, it's going to cut that line off and keep this thing flowing. As long as items make it back to them dropper stacks, it'll come around, land in here, override the off switch and let it keep flowing until the whole system's done, then it turns off and you're good to go. At this point, you need to figure out what your static blocks are going to be. You want to close this up, just like so. Leave that open. You want to get some stairs, half slabs, whatever you decide that you want your aesthetic blocks to look like. That's all a matter of personal taste. Close these off. Make sure your chest can still open up. You're good to go. Close this off. Now, a lot of this depends on what your building style is, what you want this to look like. But this is what mine looks like in the end. You have a little platform to stand on. It's basically level ground. Chests are sunken in. Up here, we have a roof. What you want to do is you want to go top half slabs across here. All the way down 2 half slabs on each set of hoppers. Get a comparator facing out. Repeater out from that just to make sure that the signal strength is good enough. Doesn't really matter what tick you put it on, it's not going to hurt anything. And then back to whatever aesthetic block you want to use. Put them across right here. That'll be your ceiling if that's what you want it to be. You can do it any way you want. You just need to get a line of redstone dust across here. One more block. Redstone dust down right to there. Now when this picks up a block, it'll fire that, drop that down, cover that signal. As you can see, we just filtered that in. It should be in that first chest. Now at this point, if everything should be done, all you have to do is dump some items in here, have it on. It should start. Whoa. Of course, there is no off at this point. We haven't put the off in yet, but this should be firing up through here. See how we're only getting one item at a time because of this? It's not just filtering down and flooding this system, which also allows us to open this up, take out whatever we mistakenly put in there. No big deal. It should be firing up, dumping through the overflow chest in case we fill that up. This will go way faster than this will. And they should be piling up right here, where this override comes across. Now the only thing we need left is our off switch. Now how you build this depends on how much time you want. I don't know exactly how many repeaters you need to make this thing clean itself out before it turns off. Nothing that gets stuck in there will be lost. It'll just finish filtering out next time. You just build this out as far as you want, as much as delay as you need, how much space you have. You want to feed that into a block. Come down to another block with redstone dust on it. Come out of the side of that. Should be able to feed right back in from that point. You want to make sure all of this is half slabs. You want to make sure all of these are repeaters. You don't want any of these signals to cross up. Ooh, it's a little tight in here. As I promised earlier in the video, by the time you're done, everything is super tight. You just carry your, whoops, we went a little too high on that. Across, one more piece of redstone dust, repeaters, in like this. That's supposed to be a full block. Nothing, that shouldn't cross talk to anything. We should be pretty good. That'll come over and that'll shut that off. So you turn this off. Your signal, if everything's been built right, your signal should be cut off. It'll only stop the items from flowing in there if there was anything left. Pushes this down until this gets empty. Lifts that piston back up, fires off our delayed off circuit, and stops the hopper, and everything is done. You want to come in here, you drop these off, let it drain out because it's a trap chest. You gotta let it shut. Items start draining out, they go into the system. Once your chest is empty, you flip that switch, walk away. This thing will continue to run until it's done. All your items will filter out. All you have to do is block off every spot that you don't want the items to flow into. If you block them all off like this, you'll start getting those items into the second chest instead of the first one because there's nowhere for it to go. They'll all pile up here. If you have this blocked off, you have everything filled, and you want your sticky pistons to come in all the way down here. That's where they'll fill up. That's your whole system. Now all you have to do is figure out where you want your overflow to go. You can bring it over, put a little dropper stack into a chest like we did over here, just for, you know, aesthetics, to show you where everything goes. Like I said, in my world, we've come over, we have a second setup over there. Fires up, all your extra items will end up in here and you'll be good to go. That is the complete system. Just like any dropper stack, if you start going into the nether and back and forth and you turn your game off, anytime this loads and unloads in a bad position, you could end up with something stuck in here. Just give yourself access down here. That's why we built this up the way we did. And just check your droppers. That's the only part that anything seems to get stuck on. You might have to come through every once in a while and empty them out, but once you get the bulk of your items in, you should be good to go. Now, I'll take you over to my survival world and show you what we've done, just to give you indication what you can use this for, and we'll be all done with this. Alright, here we are in my survival server. Over here we have our bulk storage, all our items where you would have too much to go into a system such as this. Here we have, as you can see, my compatriot that's helping me build this storage area didn't like the no block so much, so you put furnaces in here. You have your drop-off chest. Comes through to a second system over here, at which point it would head over to that bulk storage. Open this up, we can go back here and take a look. Same exact system we just finished building. The only difference is if you want to help control the lag in your server, you just place some furnaces on any of the open hoppers and it stops them from looking for an item to suck up, and that's it. We've built the whole thing. Thank you guys for putting up with me. Oh, look at that, I got armor on now. Thanks for putting up with me on my first tutorial video, and hopefully you get some use out of it. Thanks for stopping by.